baby. Darling, do you still care for me? Oh, darling, do you still care for me? Care for me, oh, darling. I have so many things I want.
Welcome to the Colby J. Ryan Show today, guys. How are you? Good to see you. It's always good to be streaming with you. We got a lot to get into today. Today's going to be a little bit more of a personal show. Usually we'll talk about some things going on in the world, some just current events in general, just because I think it's interesting for our community to touch on those things and kind of give our perspectives. Today, I want to talk a little bit more about what's going on with the channel, but we'll get to that at the end. Right now, what I want to do is I want to kind of get into the question I ask myself a lot, which applied to me and applied to Lori and applied to a lot of people in my life and just in general. Can people actually change? A lot of people believe no. A lot of people will say you cannot change someone, and that's actually completely false. And I know that because I've changed a lot in the course of probably the last 2 years. I feel like I have completely 180'd in so much of my thinking. And I thought, well, what got me to where I am today is simply creating new thought patterns. And what I mean by that is basically taking something that you struggle with worthlessness or whatever the case is, whatever you struggle with, and starting to really change that thought process. It's really important that you understand you are what you eat. So it's the same exact thing as you are mentally what you say to yourself. So if you constantly speak negatively, you're going to always feel negative. So it is very important to talk about all of that. So the question is, can people change? So what causes people to change? And there's a lot of things that we don't want to have to face to change. Let's put it that way. Consequences cause people to change. Losing someone or something. Becoming a parent, that was probably one of the biggest ones in my life. Also losing people. Faith, therapy, and self-reflection, which again, a lot of therapy makes you self-reflect if you actually want to get better. And then finally getting tired of doing the same thing, because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting a different result, and then hitting rock bottom. So I will say every single one of those things I have faced. Every single one of those things are the reasons why I've changed. And, really what it is that most people are operating out of their wounds, their trauma, their sadness, their loneliness, their hurt, whatever it is, they are operating out of that place, and their whole life really reflects that. And that in turn makes people choose certain actions, and that actions is the consequences. So that's the line of logic. What I'd like to do today is kind of bring up a concept I brought up before with when you want to change a thought, you have to create a new neural pathway. Like if you were to split water and make it go down a different way and start a new tunnel. So you are creating this tunnel. You are creating where the water is going to go first. So you have to lay the groundwork, and then you have to let the water start going down that way. So it is a lot of work. That is the best way I can explain it, is that you need a new path for you to start thinking clearly and differently than how you are. So one thing I'd like to say is I see a lot of people struggle with self-worth. And I think it's because we're online all the time, and people constantly judge themselves comparative to what they see online. So everybody thinks that they have to be this or that. I actually made a video that was funny. If you guys didn't see it on my Instagram, it was about when Tom Holland is Spider-Man, and he has like probably the best Spider-Man physique we've ever seen. Yeah, he does. He has the best Spider-Man physique, but just in general, it makes you want to be better. But what you don't do is you don't say, I'm not good enough if I don't look exactly like him, because again, I'm not going to look like Tom Holland. That's just not how my body works, is shaped. or anything like that. And so I think that's what I'm trying to say is you have to understand your life is so mental. It's such a mental thing. And your whole life really reflects on how and what you're telling yourself. Um, One thing that changes this pattern and starts this is you start to go from the regret, the remorse, and you turn it into accountability. And you might have those things. So let's give a perfect example. Regret. I hate that this happened, right? I hate that I just ate that fifth cookie. I should have only eaten two. Simple. Remorse. I don't like that I did that, but it's not I hate myself. I just made a mistake. So now it's put in some grace. Then accountability is I did eat all the cookies. No excuses. I'm not going to try to make it sugarcoat it. And then change is I'm going to change my behavior so it's for me. And it has to be you trying to prove a point to yourself, not about anybody else coming in and doing it for them. You cannot change for another person. And the reason is because change is a commitment and it's hard. And to do that, you have to choose that you're going to show up every day. And I want to make something beautifully clear is that if you are changing yourself, if you are changing yourself, I wish I'd be passing them out like crazy. If you do go to change behavior or yourself, you have to stick with it and it has to be a consistency, just like training and just like anything else you do in your life. You have to find a rhythm and you have to be able to understand that it takes time to get to where you want to be. Just like getting in shape, it takes time. And the shortcuts aren't going to work. And especially with mental health, it doesn't work. There's really nothing you can do to get there faster. So let's put it that way. I think why people don't change is they get used to the little hole that they're in. They get used to their little life that they've created. And that's how I was too. Like we're creatures of comfort. So we find things that make us comfortable and we stick to routine. We don't want to change because it's hard. It's not fun to have to go through growth. But like there's animals, like as you know, if you guys watch Spider-Man, I'm not going to spoil anything, but in one of the scenes, he's watching a spider break out of its skin, whatever it's called, like shedding. I didn't even know spiders did that. But my point is it's uncomfortable probably to literally be so big that you have to climb out of your freaking skin. We are the same way in our growth. And it is going to suck. And I think that one of the, I'm going to say this without it being an innuendo. Okay. But there's a guy that I used to watch on YouTube. His name is Nick Bear. And he created BMP supplements. I don't want to misquote that, but he's on, you could look him up right now. He's a hybrid athlete who runs and he has this thing called embrace the suck is what his mom told him. And it's the exact same concept. It's just a wording like embrace when it's hard. And he talked about it from a running metaphor, which I really enjoyed. And he said that when you're running, there's a part where your body's really ready to like say, stop, I'm overloaded, I'm tired, and it starts to slow down on you. Right as you get to that point, if you do not actually listen and quit, you hit that flow state is what he was talking about. So I think it's really important for us to understand, yeah, it's going to suck. It's going to suck. And that's just what life is. Real change for yourself. You can't change a lot of circumstances in your life and you can't make things happen and you can't make other people choose things. What you can do is say to yourself, I'm going to forgive myself. I'm going to move forward. I'm going to try harder. I'm going to show up. That's how it starts. And it's just like working out. Just start going to the gym and just do it as much as you can. And that's all it takes is effort. The difference between anything you want in your life is the amount of effort. If you really want a cookie and you're craving that cookie, you're probably going to go get it or order it on DoorDash. Whatever the case is, you know what I'm talking about. When you actually want something, you don't debate, do I want this all the time? When you really want something, you actually go and find a way to get that thing. We all know that because it doesn't cross your mind. Do I want it? Yeah, maybe with food sometimes. Do I actually want that? I'm talking about when you actually genuinely from the bottom of your heart want something. You don't torture yourself. Oh, I don't know. No, you're like, how do I get it? What's the steps? What's important? And how am I going to get the thing that I'm craving? We all know that. Don't even play with me right now, especially when you want a cookie or something like that, which I have to tell myself no. Okay. Tom Holland made me want to do more sit-ups than Jacob. So that's what it is. But I think it's really important just as a community to keep encouraging each other to try our best and to just keep trying to be as positive as we can, because that's all we really have in life is our mindsets. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I'm pretty low today. I've just had a lot more issues lately. My medicine, I just lowered the dose on, and I just feel like out of it, if that makes sense. I just feel like I feel like my voice isn't coming out very strong right now. Almost feels like labored, like it's harder for me to speak right now. I'm not saying that to gain sympathy or anything. I'm just saying I genuinely do feel like just kind of an exhaustion almost. And I don't really know why. I was actually asking myself this morning, and this is the best way I can explain it because it happened to me just this morning. And I thought to myself, the only difference of what I do now is that I really ask myself, what do I need? Like, I was really trying to figure it out. Like, are you tired? It's like asking your kid. If any of you have had toddlers and you're trying to figure out what's wrong with them, you just go through this list. Are you hungry? Are you tired? Are you sad? Did you have a hard day? Did you not get enough sleep? Like, you just run through this list and you kind of try to identify. You just do the same thing with yourself. And I was just trying to really pin down. And I think I realized that for me right now, it's just a bunch of little things that are all in the basket. And so even though it's, little potatoes, it still adds up. So think of your almost said I feel like I'm always trying to avoid innuendos on this channel, but think of your backpack and think of the weight in that backpack. And at the time when you see little things of your day dropping in the backpack, little rocks, you're like, yeah, I'm fine. That's a tiny rock. It's a pebble. But that's where I feel as if I ignored the little pebbles the whole time, in a sense of just not sitting with them. And now I have this full backpack that's really heavy. So that's exactly how I feel today. And I bring that up because, again, now the mentality changes. Accept that I feel like crap. Be okay with that. Realize that it doesn't have to stop my momentum or anything else. It's just part of the day. And then lastly, I think it's really important to acknowledge that the only way I'm going to feel better is to try to figure out how I feel and why I'm feeling this way. And then that's what I did. Figured it out. We're doing great. We're doing amazing. So that's where we're at. I think it's the best way to I try to say this a lot too, especially I really wish I could get through to just teenagers, because I just know what a hard time it is to be that young and have so much going on in your life and have so much emotions and feel so much anxiety and worry. And you just like, for me as a teenager, everything was really intense. It was like Twilight, like Edward and Bella, just too much. Just everything was just overly intense. It doesn't have to be intense, but it is when you're a teenager. And so I guess that's what I mean, is like helping people understand that it really just starts with you asking yourself the questions, and your mind is so powerful. And it's a beautiful thing because it actually means we have more control than we're willing to admit. We don't control the situation. We're not Zulema. We don't control the weather, but we do have control of what we allow our minds to go down certain paths. And it almost is, if I'm going to allow myself to be sad, I give myself that time, and then it's time to, wrap up. Not saying I cut myself off from crying. I just mean there's a point where it's like, I got it out. Now let's start the pickup process. What do I need? Do I need to rest? Do I need this? It's that simple. And to change where I am now is little stuff like that has been going forward. And I think that's what I'm trying to say, is it's just a little bit of effort, a little bit more than maybe you're used to or not giving all the time, but it's just a little bit more effort. So I wanted to share that with you. I'm learning it. I'm dealing with it today. And I thought that would be helpful to anybody in our chat and in our community. Okay. So going forward from here, we are going to start having like little graphics when we get to our next section, which is going to be awesome. And I think it's going to be great for us to be able to have multiple things to talk about. So getting into our next subject today, I'm actually going to tell you a little story. And I've told you this story before, but I think recently when I spoke with Summer on the podcast, it came up again. And I forgot to really, like, I guess sometimes when there's so much going on, it's hard to reflect and remember all the stuff that happened, because it happened so fast, and it happened. It was not just so fast. It was just kept coming, right? It was like a conveyor belt of BS. It just kept coming. There was no stopping it. So December 19th, we talked about, and I actually want to play the clip first. I was going to save that for after, but let's just play the clip. I posted it for you guys this morning. But I want you to watch this real quick. It's just the video. And I want to give you a little more context to this. So we'll just watch this part real quick. It's 2 minutes. That's when I got the, no, I didn't hear from, I heard from everybody else on the 19th. I didn't.
On the 19th?
Yeah, nobody told me till then. And so then I found out that night right before I went to go see Star Wars.
Oh.
And then that was when the press release came out the same day too. So all that happened in one day.
Yeah.
So December 19th, this is part of the story. December 19th, I got a phone call in the evening. So it was after work, and I waited to go to the movie. And it was the first time we'd gone out in a while. I've told you guys the story a few times, but it helped me get through a process because I kind of just fast forwarded. But December 19th, I got a call, and right before we went to the movie, it was a call that Alex had died and had been cremated. And I don't remember everything, to be honest with you, because it was a shock. Like, we were getting ready to leave. It was for like an 8:00 movie. So like, and I got off at like 6:30. So it was like a really fast. So I just remember like having to take all that excitement and then just feeling this weird thought process. Like, I couldn't get that idea that Alex was dead out of my head. I couldn't break off from that thought. So I felt like it was kind of just weighing on me, but I wasn't sad. I didn't know how I felt. It was like that first initial shock. And we'll get into the complexity of that after this and why I felt that way.
The press release came out. So the December 19th, the police came back and told me, we could tell you didn't know anything about your brother. So they told me that he had died and that he had been living in Arizona and that he had gotten married and that
That's so crazy. That's so crazy that he was in Arizona, married, like, yeah.
They had attended his autopsy and they didn't suspect any foul play, that they believed it was natural causes. So I had the whole conversation with them, and then I had to go in, and my kids are like, what's wrong? I had to tell my kids they were close to him at the time.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I had to call my mom.
I just want to pause you real quick there.
Yeah.
That's the point. So I hate that I paused there. One thing I will critique myself on in this podcast is that Summer and I more had a discussion rather than an interview. Usually in my interviews, I'm a lot more silent and ask more questions, but we talk a little bit more like this, very fast, back and forth. And we're both listening and speaking. It's weird. It's hard to explain. But what I will say is the weight for them was different for me. So everybody does have a very different perspective. And this is what I was trying to get to in part of this conversation was the documentary will have a perspective of other things because everyone had different experiences. Now, like I said, we go to the movies. I came back from the movies and it's late at night. And then the press release dropped. And I'll tell the rest of that story after this. People don't understand is regardless of anything, we didn't know what happened, and it's still their uncle that they knew who came over and played board games and did voices and wasn't the psychopath murderer.
Right.
So there was a level of grief at the time that you can't put into context because...
I'm glad I didn't know everything in a way at that time because we were able to like... I guess, I don't know if grieve him or say goodbye to him or whatever in that way to the Alex we knew.
Yeah. He died to me when he killed Charles in my personal, like when he died, I was in shock. I thought I was at the, that's exactly how I felt. You had a family conversation. Those will be exactly. That's what I wanted everybody to understand. I mean, I am critique myself just as much as anybody and not in a negative way, but just like, what could you do better? And like this conversation, obviously it was like I wish I would have just been more quiet, but what I wanted other people to understand is in this conversation was supposed to be a deep conversation. It wasn't supposed to be case-based. It was about whatever the flow was, and that's how all my podcasts have gone, and they've always done a lot better because we're not trying to like subject ourselves to certain things. But a lot of people obviously want me to ask certain questions. I'm like, look, I'm not a medium like person. I have a podcast for the exact opposite. And it's to let people have a platform to talk and have their piece said. But she felt very different in that time than I did. I received that very differently because I don't know if I've ever put this in context, but it was July 11th, Charles was killed. Not even 2 weeks later, my appendix almost burst. I don't know how it didn't because when I got to the hospital, they had already said, you're like emergency surgery because it's gonna burst. You're like way past it. I'd waited all day at work. And I don't even think it was 2 weeks later. Like, I'm not kidding. It was so fast. Like I couldn't even process what had happened. I think I only took a day off of work. And then by the next week, I had the appendix almost. So I had emergency surgery, and that was really hard because, again, I love to work out. It was my only stress relief, and I couldn't even do that. And I was just like, I was just so beside myself over Charles. And then, you know, like when you're sitting there and you can't work out, you can't even do anything to regulate. For me, that's how I regulate. So that was really hard. And then I never got to really pick anything back up because then right after Lori left, she moved, and it all just happened so fast. And yeah, you get to December, or you get to November, and that's when the police come. But when you get to December and they tell me that, like, I remember just thinking, he killed my dad. Now he's dead. Like, that must be God's justice. I didn't even know what he had done. I didn't know about Brandon. I didn't know about Tylee and JJ. I didn't know about Tammy. Like, all I knew was the Charles thing. And I thought then that he had got taken out for what he did. It was just the most crazy thing ever. Anyway, we'll get to the rest of it after this. Movie thinking,
It was hard.
my uncle just died who killed my dad. So
Yes.
like, I don't know. I guess that day when I found out he did that, everything changed for me personally. But I guess I never really grieved him at all. I didn't think about that.
Well, and I don't think it just depends on what your relationship is to the person. So I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's just where you were. And I totally can understand why you would feel that way.
I remember at the movie theater, I cannot believe. And again, I didn't even know.
Yeah,
I can't believe that I didn't know at the time.
That night.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah, that happened that night.
It was all just
So
in your
finding
face.
that out, and that she was married, and I see Peter Griffin next to her on a thing, and I went, and the kids. Hey, can I explain the Peter Griffin thing, please? Let me just explain it, because I have to, like, I feel like I've talked about it, but now that I'm a lot older and more mature, I feel like I just understand. When I saw his picture, I genuinely, that is the absolute first thought that came to my mind. Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Like, I cannot tell you how uncanny. Like, I was like, who is this Peter Griffin? Like, that was my first thought. So that's why I say that. Are missing everywhere, and they fled, and where they were. I was like, all that happened in one night, in one paper. I found out they were in Idaho, that they were no longer in Idaho, that they had lived up there, that everybody had lived with them.
Right.
So let's pause there. Let me just tell you the breakdown. This is, let me see if I can actually pull up. I'm gonna see if I can pull it up, because we're gonna do something that I didn't think we are gonna do on this episode. Let's see. 2019. I don't even know what to call this. Press. That'd be really interesting to see this. I don't know if I'm going to find it, to be honest with you. Give me 1 second. No. I don't think I'm going to find the original press release. Yeah, there's too many things here. Let me see. I found it. No, that's... press release. Anyway, it was a side by side of Lori, Chad. This is too blurry. Anyway, I'll just give you what I remember. So, yeah, back in that time, Lori didn't tell us where she was going. She didn't tell me where she was going. She said somewhere cold. I was like, well, I literally went on a map. I'll never forget this. I went on a map and thought of every place that's cold, which is like the whole freaking upper East Coast. And then I was like, well, Utah can get cold. I never considered Idaho, just being honest. And I don't know the geography of everything, but I mean, even here, like in Flagstaff and stuff, it can snow. So long story short, I found out that they were missing. The kids were officially now missing because they were looking for them in November, but I had called Lori and I didn't know that they were in Idaho, that she was married. Like, none of this was all in one day, within 5 hours of each other. Let's call it 5 hours just to be safe. From before the movie to like an hour and a half after the movie, that all dropped in that press release had come out. And I'm telling you right now, like, it just didn't even make any sense. And it was so overwhelming. It was such an overwhelming amount of information. And Alex is dead. I was like,
it's crazy.
This is one day. Because again, what is that time frame? I found out the day before Thanksgiving. So I'm going to say November 27th.
Was the last time you talked to your mom?
No, yes. Well, that was, so the police came to my door.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I just wanted to tell, like, from that perspective, I was listening to the premiere with you guys. And when I was listening to that part, I guess I was like, that seems, and I'm at this point in my life where I have to actually remind myself, that actually seemed like a lesser of the whole package. And I think a lot of us do that. We almost compartmentalize, well, I've been through this, like you name the worst thing you've ever gone through. And then you have like everything almost falls underneath that threshold. So you almost say to yourself, well, this is the worst I've ever felt. And this is the hardest thing I've ever gone through. And so it doesn't actually really equate like this thing did. The problem is they all take their hits. They all have little ticks. And eventually you start to go down. Like I said, with the backpack with rocks, when I went back and I'm now, like I said, doing the work for the documentary in the background, I'm like, holy crap, I don't even know if this is going to fit in this project. Like genuinely, that is how much there was for each person. But for me personally, I don't think a lot of the stuff that I actually experienced will be here, because this is not about Colby. But it just makes you think about that time and what you're experiencing and what you remember and what other people were going through at the same time. And I really can't put that into context. Like it was a lot of little ticks. And I think that you have to realize that they take a toll and they really will get to you. And we talked about that in this podcast. Summer and I discussed therapy, and we discussed mental health and how it affects your physical health as well, and how you can't ignore that. And we can't pretend that that's not happening, right? Like it affects you. Your mental health will mess up your physical health. And I think that's really important for us to realize, because man, it's just not talked about enough. And I say it all the time because I feel like I want to scream it from the rooftops, because it just doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't go anywhere. So I just want to say that it is not going to just change one day, and you're not just going to feel way better, and you're not just going to, get over it. You're just distant from the pain. That's really it. Like that's all of it is. That's all it is. Thank you. I really hope so. I'm very practical. I'm a parable person. When someone speaks in a way that I understand, then I can conceptualize it. So I always feel like I'm trying to find ways that make sense to me, because what are we supposed to do? Our days go on. That's another big theme of this podcast that I wanted people to take away, is your day just keeps going. Your life just doesn't stop. Nothing else changes other than the fact that you're going through what you're going through, that your family's still missing, that you have to show up, pay bills, support your people, your kids, everything. Like nothing changes in that realm. So we're at a point where you're just stuck. Like you're so stuck. The word stuck really does. You're 127 hours stuck. Like you're not leaving unless you lose something. And even then, I didn't cut that branch off for a long time. Like it took me a long time to physically say, I am going to separate myself from this case. And I was really trying to put that in there too. I want people to understand when I bring this up, I'm in such a different place. And like we talked about at the beginning of this show, I'm in such a different place now. And you really can. I hope you can take that away. If there's anything you take away from me in the world, is that you can get better. And when you go back to the places where you do discuss these things, it's not stopping the progression. It's not putting you back in where you were. It's not ruining your mental health. None of that. None of that's happening. And so I feel like that's really important to say, is that you're not just, you're not re-traumatizing yourself, because you've actually healed from it. I think that's really important to put out there, is that it's okay to be able to go back as long as you're prepared. And I think I had to learn that for me, it wasn't a prepared thing. It was you have to jump if you're going to do it, because you're never going to want to go backwards and talk about this stuff. And once I did, the strength came through what we were doing on the streams. So I hope that makes sense, because it was not fun or easy, but it was worth it. And you guys really, really supported me through it. You really supported me through it. Another thing I want to bring up real quick in this show is that the other day I posted a picture with Lori for the first time in, I don't know, ever. Like, it's been a long time. since I posted anything about her. And it was just like one of these one-off things. And I always feel like what's important for me to get across is the message that I'm trying to put out there for everybody else. I'm going to read this in just a second, Celia, because I appreciate you. So what I feel like this whole channel is in this community and what we talk about, but like from my side, from messaging wise, is that I know there's a lot of people who have very similar relationships with their parents where they are not able to grieve someone because they're still here and you have this estranged relationship, and it's a really hard thing to go through. And so I bring that up only because I think some people always misunderstand, like, why would you put this on social media or whatever the case is? And I always am trying to, like, I don't need to explain myself, but for the people who need to see that kind of thing, that's who it's for. And that's how I always think when I post something like that, is because, yeah, it's my feelings and I'm getting them out, but I know there's other people who feel the exact same way. They're not alone. And again, I've always felt like at the core of everything, I've always tried to share things because I want people to not feel alone in this world, because I know what that feels like. And so that's the reason to try to be vulnerable. And it's not like it's super easy to just open up, but I've gotten used to it because I just know it's the best way forward. So that's why I share those types of things. And I hope that I want people to take away from the bad and turn the things that can be turned into good as lessons to be turned into good. That's exactly how I feel. And that's really important to me. So, yeah, I appreciate you guys so much. For the last little bit of the show, I want to kind of go over some community announcements. Let me read your chat. It says, "Hi, Colby and Scar Wars fam. I miss everyone. I'm so very happy to catch you live. We're glad that you're here. This is the way." Love that. So I really hope that going forward, I can kind of give you my vision, and this is how I've wanted it to be for a while, but I think I finally kind of just figured it out. I'm not going to lie to you. I overthink things a lot. It's something that I probably struggle with the most, is just really trying to allow myself to have a clear head and try to, I don't know, just stop trying to put too much thought into something because it starts to overwhelm the situation. But what I want to do, the show is going to be our new streaming platform, except for the Community Choice Wednesdays, which is what you guys get to choose, which is for next week. So I'll put up a post for you and you can tell me what you want to do. We're going to be doing that and the podcast. We're going to I'm trying to get tons of different people who are willing to come on this type of platform and have overall discussions. It is hard when you're doing media because I think the overall tone a lot of times is for people to ask you really hard questions that make you emotional and have you almost have an emotional reaction because it's better for people's content. And I cannot do that. So I have a really hard time even reaching out sometimes thinking, I hope people understand that I never want to expose them to the platform. It's literally the opposite. I want them to have a place to come to just discuss things without that having to be brought in. I don't need a hot take. I don't care. I want to have a genuine conversation where someone understands they're being looked at as a person and that their story can help other people. If that doesn't fit them, then that's all that matters. And that they shouldn't do the podcast if they don't feel comfortable with that kind of thing. So that's where we're at with that. But I will say that one other announcement that I noticed is that the store for some reason has been like removed from YouTube. We still have all of our same store and I have some new things coming out for you guys, but I have to go fix it. I don't know what happened. YouTube has been really different the last year, just very different place. Not the same as how it was when we started, but that's okay. It's part of it. And then, yeah, I just want to really emphasize. So I'm going to put it in the chat and I'll just type it out for you as I say it. But if you guys want to, part of that, part of the community choice is I want you guys to be able to come in and let me read your stories if you want, ask questions. So send me an email, and my email, I hope that goes in the chat. Oh, it did. Perfect. My email is askcolbyj@gmail.com. And if you have part of the community is what we were doing before. So I don't know if you guys remember this, but we did a share your story Saturdays. We did different questions. If you send in something, put the Colby J. Ryan Show as your title. That way I know it can be shared publicly. Because that's the most important thing is I don't want there to be any, like, I never want to read a private email online. Like, obviously I'll read through the email first, but you know what I'm saying? I don't want to share something you don't want shared. So put that as your title, the Colby J. Ryan Show. And then at the end, we'll read that type of stuff. So that way the community can, we want good news, or if you're struggling, if you need support, if you want to tell your story, that's kind of what that means. Very open-ended. It's about the community. And I kept thinking to myself, we need more of that, because we were doing Fun Fridays, which were great, but that Wednesday can be everything. It can be the Fun Friday. It can be good news, bad news, support, prayer, whatever you need. That's what we're here for. So I wanted to put that out there today. And one of the things I'd like to do too is have you guys let me know what you want to hear from. Like, what do you want to talk about? A lot of you said the Lindsay Clancy thing. I have done a little bit more research on that. I really don't mind talking about it. It doesn't upset me. I think it's, if anything, if I can give perspective on it, I will. That's all that I think in my head. If I don't have a perspective or something to share, then I just don't find it fruitful. I don't think that it's going to help people. So I don't necessarily want to talk about it, but that's how my brain works. I don't want to talk about it for nothing. I always want there to be something that we can take away from it. So yeah, I wanted to just put all of that out there for our beautiful community. I'm going to read your guys' chats and answer questions if you want. We're wrapping up just a little bit early today, hoping our Wi-Fi does not cut out, because the Wi-Fi was out. So if I just disappear, just know that I love you and know that it was not me and I did not leave. It just decided to kick me out. Ever since joining your channel, you've helped me tremendously, and I'm so grateful for that, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you too. And thank you all for being here. This is a place for everyone, and I really hope people understand going forward what this community, the power of this community has, and it's a beautiful thing. Again, I go on tangents about it, but I've never seen anything else like this ever on in social media, whatever you want to call this. I don't think it really exists. I think people deserve to come to a place and just be human beings. And that's just hard, because online is just a brutal place, and people usually are just different online than they are in person, which I don't know what version you're getting. I don't know if the in-person is the real one or if it's the online that's the real version of them. You would never know. But I like to I'm just myself. I don't know. I'm not trying to brag or anything. I just learned I don't even have the energy. Like, I don't have the energy to try to pretend that I'm not who I am. If you met me, I guess you would know that's me, because I just can't imagine trying to put it on. Like, even today, I'm tired, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I just feel really fatigued. I don't know if it's my health or what, but just that mental and physical fatigue. So I couldn't even imagine trying to come in here and be like, everybody, it's hunky dory. It's me, Colby. Like, I can't imagine that. So just putting that out there. But our community deserves it. We deserve to have support. Everybody deserves to just have a place to go and talk about stuff. So that's all that matters to me. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, we'll do that for the next few minutes. I'd love to be able to share a little bit more what's going to happen. But I like to, for the podcast side, I always like to have things either like the day out from it, because sometimes I've had podcasts canceled 30 minutes before. That's the hard part. So I don't like to really tease you guys with podcasts, but I have some really good stuff coming for you guys that I think is going to be really helpful. So this community has helped me too. Thank you, Colby, for creating the space. Of course. Well, again, this is all of us doing it. That's how I see it. Yes, people can change. You're exactly right. You can. You really can. You really can change so much about your life. It's not even funny. Like, I look at myself and some of the stuff we've talked about, like even the interviews, or I don't know, just like anything. And I'm like, I can't even explain to you how I don't even recognize that person anymore. In the best ways. Yes, absolutely. absolutely you can ask prayers for your mom. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. It's what we're here for. You know? Because like how are you can't just do it by yourself, man. You just can't do this life by yourself. Not fair. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. We all have our own problems. And I always say this, but I want to reiterate this. There is no scale. There is no trauma scale. There's no, you're so much worse. I could never, like, no, everyone's trauma is what it is. And we just got to understand that there's no, like, you've gone through worse, so I'll say nothing. I won't say anything because you've been through more. No, everyone has their own trauma. I've not walked in your shoes. You haven't walked in mine. That simple. This is not a seesaw, you know? Harmonic says, Colby, my heart hurts for you, babe. I wish I could take it all away from you, and I wish none of this happened. It's so horrible. I'm so proud of you and how you've handled this. UK England. Shout out to the UK, and thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me. Yeah. I guess I've just embraced it. It's just, it is what it is. Hope that doesn't sound cold, but it's the truth. And I realized that, I don't know, you just gotta, at some point, you've got to be able to pick it up. And no one can do it for me. My therapist can't do it for me. My kids can't make me get up. It's the truth. Like, people are just going to be who they are. My kids motivated me for sure, but I feel like I had to make the ultimate decision. So that's why I share what I share. I hope that helps everybody, honestly. Always supporting you. Thank you, Monica. Oh, Tess, I thought you were talking to me. I said, what are we, whoa. What are we talking about? I'll share one more thing with you. I really don't mind. But I posted what I said the other day because I really had to get to that conclusion with Lori. It took me a long time to believe that I could move on from that. And it just took me through a loop, and I couldn't process someone who, I'm going to answer your question in just a second, through faith. But it took me such a long time to get to where I am today with Lori because it was so complex. And so I just hope that helped. You know what I mean? I hope that helped everybody because that's where I'm at. Yeah, Tess, we all thought you were talking about me, but you're very sweet. She was saying she's going to add Ashley's mom to her prayer list, which was very kind, but she just said, I'll add your mom. I was like, do you mean on the phone? Let's hang up the stream. We're done. I'm just kidding. Colby, how is your relationship with Jesus since all this happened? That's a great, interesting question. My faith journey has been very interesting to me. I really had to find Jesus in a completely different way later in my life. I wouldn't say I had a faith crisis, but I did question my faith a lot. And I told you guys, I grew up LDS, and then I became like basically a non-denominational Christian, but I didn't really know how I felt and what I thought about Jesus. I knew he was real. That wasn't ever the question to me. It was like, I just didn't know what to do. Because when you go up LDS, you're like, this is the church that you go to. This is the true church. That's how you grow up thinking. And then I'm like reading the Bible, and I'm like, well, this doesn't match up with what I grew up learning. So it was a very confusing time. So I just read my Bible, and I found out what a relationship with Jesus is like. And it's like a relationship that is like this. It's very like, I've learned to go to Jesus with things, but I will be honest with you. I have struggled the most in the last probably 3 years. Yeah, no, since 24. So yeah, about 3 years that I just have really struggled with vulnerability with God. It's really hard. I feel like when I'm really trying to do stuff like praying, I just start crying. And so I have a tendency to avoid almost sometimes. And I have to like reset my own mindset and tell myself like, just, you don't have to be afraid of having that vulnerability, but it's hard to face it sometimes. Sometimes I'm just like, I just don't want to deal with this right now. But I've learned that I just have to vent it out because I've tried the other method. I've tried like, yeah, I'll go work out. I'll do this, I'll do that. And maybe I'll feel better later. And it's like, but I always feel better once I vent it out with God. So I think that's really important, but it's been different for sure. I'll add Lori to the throat punch list. Okay. I'm not going to tell Summer's story, but this is the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life. We were having a discussion and she said to me something, and then she kind of threw in there, I throat punched her. I said, what? She was like, she said something and she was dead serious. So I said, no, start from the beginning. Tell me the story. And so she told me the story and she said it in the podcast because I was like, please tell people that you literally punched her in the throat. Like, boosh, like you punched her throat. Come on. Don't like let people know you did that. Cause I think everybody thought she was such a ride or die for Lori. And she said in her own words how she felt about it all. If you haven't seen it, go watch it because she does herself justice in explaining how she feels. But I will say that when I heard the throat punch story, I laughed so hard because like everyone fights with their siblings, but a throat punch is like serious business. She popped her in the throat. So I was like, hey, kudos to you. Kudos to you. But there's again, let me just put this out there. There's no winning in repaying somebody with violence. I obviously had my time where I was really angry and upset and thought that I'd want to beat everybody up and it wouldn't do anything. It really wouldn't. Maybe feel good for like 30 seconds. But I will put out a statement today. I'm going to make a pitch at the end of the show now. I've made this pitch before. I really want everybody to hear this. Whoever is here, let's see if we can make this happen. There's a possibility. Well, I'm making this up, so there's not a possibility. But is it possible? Let's have the discussion first. I'd like to have a 3 3-minute round boxing match with Chad. Okay, hear me out. I've pitched it before. I'm pitching it again. 3 minutes per round, only 3 rounds with a ref. It's just hands. I'll go up or down in weight class and you have a referee. You give Chad 6 months with an absolute master boxing trainer and I'll train myself. Like I'm giving you every ounce of an advantage. Okay. He gets to fight. We'll do whatever. We'll come up with some prize, a grand prize. And if he wins, he gets to have commissary and Snickers and whatever he wants for the rest of his life. And if we win, then we'll donate it. I don't care. Not a bad. I mean, you want to watch. Do you want to watch Jake Paul fight Mike Tyson, or do you want to watch me and Chad? Just it's just 2 grown men. That's it. And like I said, up or down in weight class, you choose. And I'm not gonna do. Everybody thinks I'm gonna do the fast knockout. I'm not. I'm gonna be very strategic. Okay, it's more about the fear factor at first. It's good 15 to 20 seconds of the first round of just size ups, just really letting them know. And then it's just little taps, little bee stings, and then here comes the douche. But I'm not gonna take him out quick. We're gonna take our time. But if he wins, on the off chance that he throws a haymaker and I go to sleep, he gets to live. He can give his kids his money. He can whatever he wants, right? He gets to have the money. At least the quality of his life would be better than probably what it is right now. Come on. Make it happen. Somebody reach out. Tell Dana. I don't even know if this is legal. Tell Dana White. Tell Jake Paul. And tell me that it would not be the absolute best fight to watch ever. And that's the best part. It's just good for me. It'd be good for me. Just a little bit. Not going to make anything better. But I would like just that one-on-one time. And everybody there's regulated, nothing. I just want whatever ounce gloves. Like, I'm not going to be picky. Just put me in the situation and we'll go from there. I'll train myself. I'll punch a tree. I'll watch freaking Rocky and train like Rocky. Okay. I'll be Michael B. Jordan and I'll be pulling a plane on my back and running up to the Hollywood side. Come on now. You can't deny if you want to watch these other people box, sure. Put them out there. That's fine. Everybody enjoys the content they like. Somebody put me in touch with Jake Paul today. Because I watched Longest Yard. They got to go play football. They got to get out and play football. You're telling me we couldn't have a regulated boxing match in the middle of Idaho? I don't care if it's outside. I don't care if it's in the snow. Let's do it. Let's do it. Somebody tell Jake Paul. I'm calling it out. I'm calling him out. Make it happen. We need this. That's what I'm saying. Like we just need this. We'll have so much fun with it. We'll all go. Just be a huge Scar Warriors. We'll do well, I guess we'll have to figure it out. We'll figure out the logistics. I'm talking like this is gonna happen, but I'm just saying. If this can't happen, it could. It's possible. Anyway, I'm going on a tangent. Forget all that. I'm being serious. That's all I'm saying. Being dead serious. And plus, I have meningitis. You could put that as an ailment. Like you could say he at least doesn't have that. Come on. You punch one time in the meningitis. Like it could do some damage. So let's just do it. It's pretty fair. It's pretty fair. And I'll go down in weight class if I have to. Down or up, you choose. And get him someone who's absolutely ridiculous at training. Get him a great trainer. Have him perfectly. Give him that. Give him someone who can get him there. We'll do it. I'd love to see his face. I'd love to have okay, 1 round. You want 1 5-minute round? Sure. Forget the 3. Give me 1 5 minutes. That's all. Anyway, forget my tangent. I love and appreciate you guys. If you guys are going to be here tomorrow, we have, today's Monday. So we have a show tomorrow. Oh, it'd be streamed. So we're all clear. I'd stream it for you guys. You could watch it. We'd have 50 different cameras for you to stream because I don't care. I just want the one-on-one time. I don't care about anything else. Yes, this is my make-a-wish. I don't want to go to Disneyland. I don't want to go to Disney World. I don't want to go to anywhere else in the planet. This is what I want. And I'm willing to put in the work. I already have my walkout song. I'm ready. Put me on. Put me on. I would love it. I'd love it. Stop this. 43 feet taller than him and got inverted hot dog muscles. Yeah, it probably wouldn't go very long. It would not go long. You know, I was asked not too long ago if I would have an interview with him. I would. I would talk to him. I think it would be a horrible conversation. I think that he would probably be too scared to say anything. And if he did say something, I don't think that he would say anything of worth. I just think he's too scared of a human being. So I don't think it'd go anywhere. But I would do it if the opportunity was there. I have things I want to say too. So I think I'd have questions and then I'd probably want to just say things because I don't think the questions would go very far. He might just blame Lori, which is ridiculous. So wouldn't go anywhere. Wouldn't really go anywhere. Anyway, I love you guys and appreciate you. Thank you for being here for the Colby J. Ryan show. And we'll be back tomorrow. And we have a few other things to cover. So today I'm going to post for you after this show. I'm going to post the community choice for next week's Wednesday. So please put a vote. And if you have a certain thing, like if I say, let's say you vote reactions, please put in the comments what you want to me to react to and have it for all of us. That'd be really great. He's doing really good. That's all I'll say. I mean, I like to, anybody that I have a relationship with, I try to just let them speak for themselves unless they specifically tell me to, say how they're doing, but he's doing good. So I think that's good, but he's doing good. Anyway, I appreciate you guys. Love you. See you tomorrow and I'm out.